Hey, welcome to episode 158 of Awkwardly Awesome Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Freeman, and today I'm talking to two brilliant people about teammanship, creating amazing, powerful cultures, and a lot of other stuff. I don't want to spoil it for you, so I'll tell you more in a sec, but first this.
Today's guest, Vaney Hariri and Manny Gutierrez.
Well, welcome back to Awkwardly Awesome Podcast. Let me tell you about these two amazing people. Vaney and Manny have been working together for the past 20 years. They met while performing with a music group, the Young Nobles, in 2003, before settling into a 17-year stint coaching football together. Vaney is the co-founder and chief culture officer of Think 3D Solutions. He is the co-author of Think 3D, a radical approach to maximizing the potential of your team. Vaney is a passionate presenter who gets his audiences analyzing and creating with their heads and feeling with their hearts. His TEDx Talk is entitled Low on Leaders, Developing the Leaders of Tomorrow Today. Manny is passionate about developing the youth in our community. As the director of community engagement for Think 3D Solutions, he helps facilitate the Leaders of Tomorrow program and manages community partnerships, all in addition to being the head football coach at O'Gorman Junior High School. He is also a father, hip-hop artist, motivational speaker, and jack of most trades, I think he says. I cut that part of the bio off, so he'll have to fill us in. Please help me welcome Bonnie and Manny. Woo!
Let's go!
Yay! Thanks for being here. So first, I'm so curious. Tell me about Young Nobles.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Honcho.
So we both come from rap, and I was in a group called the Noblemen in the late '90s, early 2000s, and we went for some years, and that kind of group was kind of changing, and we changed to a different type of group because one of my friends at the time was like, "Hey, you gotta meet my little brother. He can really rap." And I'm like, yeah, sure, bring your little brother by. And then he comes by with him. That's a big little brother. And so it turns out, not only was he good, but our styles really meshed. And so, and the work ethics really meshed. At that time, not everybody really wanted to work as hard as we did. And so we kind of formed a group together, Young Nobles, which was the new version. And that was myself, Tammy, and my business partner, and then Manny. So we're all back together again.
Yeah, the band's back. It was really my brother had been doing security for those guys for a while. And so it just worked out. He kept telling me about the group, and I had already been hearing about the group. I had been doing, my own thing musically in the community. And then when we linked up, like he said, it was just a perfect marriage at that point. The intensity, the way we worked. And both being from New York, he's from upstate. I'm from New York City, so it just meshed, and it's been a pleasure ever since. You know what I mean? We've been brothers ever since. It was just like an instant connection. I think we both felt that hometown vibe where you get around like-minded and like-spirited with the same energy, and we're in a small, this is a small town for us, right? So it's just like, okay, we get here, and to get that connection was just it was awesome. So, all these years later, here we are.
Wonderful. Awesome when we see other people do things like music, and if we're not a musician, a self-suite, then wow, they just have a lot of natural talent. But but you also mentioned work ethic. How does work ethic relate to happening together?
Well, I mean, work ethic is ultimately what communicates, your desire and the respect that you have for that talent. Applied talent is what talent really is. Just like knowledge is applied knowledge. That's real power. And, a lot of people have talent, like you mentioned, but they don't put it into action. And also perseverance. I would put work ethic and perseverance, because you got to be willing to work at that craft to actually be excellent at it. And that was one of the things that was always important for us, is that we wanted to be the best. We wanted to be the first or the only. And when we said best, not necessarily better than the people who are around us, we wanted to be the best that we could be, which we knew was some of the best in the world, and particularly the region. And so we carried that work ethic to everything that we've done. We just don't expect people to do it from us. We come from backgrounds where people don't do it for you. We come from backgrounds where nobody's going to hand it to you. And if you're not willing to go get it, you're not going to get it. So that's the mentality that we all have.
Yeah, it's definitely, to piggyback off of that, it's just one of those things where it's you against you. And that's how we've always believed it, right? We don't negotiate our effort. And so when it comes down to doing anything, whether it be music, public speaking, coaching, whatever it is, we're going to put in the work, and it's on us. We have to be able to say, okay, I know I left it all out on the field, so to speak. And no matter what I did, I'm gonna give it my all. I don't like to engage in anything halfway, because then it doesn't get done. So if I'm gonna engage, I'm gonna engage the whole way. And so when we did that with music, again, it's the same thing. You got to give and prepare as if you're going to be in front of thousands and thousands, right? So if there's two people in the audience, you got to give them the same energy that you would give 10,000, right? And that was one thing that we vibed on, and we understood, along with Tamian as well. Like, we understood that part of it. Is like, it's not only the showmanship, and it's not only the music and the lyrics and the melody, but it's the effort, it's the energy. And so blending that into coaching, it was that much, easier of a transition, because we knew what we were going to bring. And so it became our job to try to bring that out of any players that we have.
Ronnie, I love your idea that work ethic communicates respect for talent. And Manny, I love your idea that whether you're performing for 2 people or 20, you got to prepare like it's for 2,000 people. So often it seems like we wait to really put it all out on the field until we have the big crowd, until we have the big opportunity, but then it's kind of almost too late.
It is too late, because you don't get the big crowd unless you treat the small crowd like the big crowd, because, that's just how it goes. And there's a lot of people who will never see that, any version of it, because they're waiting for it to start. That's just not how it goes. And
that's one of the things we even teach here at Think 3D, at Leaders of Tomorrow. Part of our culture in this company, and just the way we live. And to make that clear, our culture is how we live. So this isn't something we just are preaching to people. Like, we live the thing. And so it's preparation before promotion. right? You got to practice how you play, right? So you can't prepare. You can't just prepare when you get the position. You got to prepare like you have the position right now, so that when that position comes or that opportunity comes, you're ready for it. The way we talk about it, practice got to be the hardest thing we do, whether it be preparing for a speak, preparing for a facilitation, or preparing for a football game. Practice has to be the most intense thing that we do, so that when the game comes, the game is actually easy. The game is actually slower than what we practice. And then it just becomes instinctual. So, and then to have that kind of environment, you have to have and recruit the right talent, the right type of people that are going to be able to push you. Everybody in this office is dynamic. So if you're not ready to step up and be, up to par and push the envelope, you're gonna sink. And the same thing that we promote in practice, we don't negotiate effort. If you want to go 40%, fine. We're going 100. So, one of the things we say all the time, you don't have to be on the train, just don't be on the tracks, because we're not slowing down.
So I'm trying to wrap my head around this. You two coach these ideas to a middle school football team, and in middle schoolers are often stereotyped as wanting to be on their phone, wanting to be playing video games, wanting to kind of veg out. How do you coach? How do you inspire them with the power of what practice can do for a person?
I think it comes with result. And to be honest, this started when we were coaching 3rd and 4th graders, if I'm honest with you.
Wow.
That early. Oftentimes we forget we're raising adults, right? We're not raising kids. So we never said, hey, we're going to coach down to these kids. No, we're going to coach the kids up, and we're going to speak to them as if they're young men, right? And so when you're doing that and you set an expectation for them and say, hey, this is your bar, and I know you can reach it because I've seen you reach it. So it's not like we're just magically saying you're going to be this great thing. We say, this is how you're going to do it. And then once you get proven concept, so for example, we got what we call the hill. We run the hill every Saturday until it's freezing cold. We're out there coaching whoever wants to come from 3rd grade. And now we got college players. They come out, they go to the hill. I can send out a group chat, say, hey, we're going to be at the hill. And the hill is Spellerberg Park by Midco Aquatic Center. That's sledding hill. And we run and we run and we run and we run and we prepare, we condition. And that is where they will find themselves, and they're going to find out who they truly are in the moments where they're the most tired and exhausted, and in the moments where they don't believe that they can finish something. So once you get somebody to finish something that they never thought they could finish, now they have realized the sky's the limit. So when you say you can be excellent, you're not average, and you 5 minutes into a workout, 10 minutes into a workout, you're saying I can't finish. And then 50 minutes later, you're like, we're done, and you finished, you realize don't live here no more.
So to the people watching this, I'm going to repeat some of the amazing things Manny and Bonnie are saying, but I can't get it all. So I encourage you, please, to be taking notes, because what you both are saying is amazing. So with grade school, middle school football, you're not only coaching young men to get beyond complacency and do something, you're also coaching them in a sport where they'll get tackled, where they will get hit. The first time I met you, Manny, I think we talked about this. So how do you, like often in life, we have the tendency to run from getting the chance of getting hurt. How do you inspire people that this is part of the journey, as part of the game?
Well, this is a situation where it's like this is not just a game; it's life. You know what I mean? Like if you're avoiding getting hurt, you're avoiding experience, and if you're avoiding
If you're
experience,
avoiding getting hurt, you're avoiding experience.
yeah. If you don't, you'll never go talk to that person that you might want to go on a date with. You'll never ask out that friend for, to go out to that movie or that thing. You could be hurt in all those situations. Anytime you leave the house, anytime you get out of your bed, any of those things, you could be hurt. If that's what you're avoiding, then you're avoiding the experience. One of the things that we say, particularly to folks in the hood, is don't stay safe, stay dangerous. See, a lot of people tell you to stay safe, but you don't get to decide to be safe. You can decide how dangerous you are in terms of your ability to impact the world, your ability to affect your situation. And what we talk about is this idea of wherever you take yourself in the world, no matter what room, no matter what situation, no matter what circumstances, there is a single common denominator, and that's yourself. And so you have to prepare yourself in a way, you have to form yourself in a way that whatever room you walk into, dangerous or not, you are prepared. You are as in good a position as you could possibly be. So when we talk about mindset, that's what we talk about. And especially when we're talking to these young men, because more than they're young men, they're men that are young. They're men. And the type of men we want to influence building are men who are prepared, who are thoughtful, who are considerate, who do the work. And that's how they develop their confidence to be able to do whatever it is that they need to do. And so for us, we know that it's not about who we are, it's about who they are. You see, a lot of coaches, they think they're the reason why the team wins. A good coach is the reason why the team is ready. Yeah. And all we're trying to do is get them ready. So we don't talk down to them, and we tell them the realities of what's going to happen. You're going to face things that are going to come at you. But if you are in a car accident, and there's one car that is moving, and there's one car that is staying still, what car do you want to be? The one that's moving. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So be moving.
Yeah, and that's part of it. And when you're building a relationship in any form, at any level, you got to be honest, right? And so we promise them things. We promise you that you're going to be uncomfortable, right? And then we promise you that you're going to be in pain. There's going to be pain that comes with this, right? But then once we say, we promise you also, if you can push past discomfort and you can push past the pain, now you got victory. Now you have success. But you got to get through those first two things. Now, we don't want anyone to be injured. So there's a difference between hurt and injured. If you're hurt, you got some owies, you got some boo-boos, you can still carry on. If you're injured, you need to rest and recuperate, right? But we want people to be safe. And there's a certain level and certain way you can play this sport and be violent and aggressive and still be safe. There's techniques that we really hone in on and say, hey, this is how you tackle. This is how you fall in order to keep yourself safe, right? Fear is normal, right? Fear is normal. Fear is present, well, in the hero and in the coward. It's just what we do with it, right? It's present there. But if you can, the difference is if you take that fear and move forward. That's the difference between winning and losing, living and dying. That's how it is, And so in life, that's what we want them to grow up with. The game is much deeper than just a game. Like we said, we're trying to build men, young men, and leaders of our community that are going to be able to get into the world and not accept somebody telling them to be small. Right? Oftentimes, but a lot of our players, especially at O'Gorman, we don't have a size advantage over anyone. We usually are undersized, but we play big. And you got to play big enough, and you got to bring the energy enough and the intensity enough that after a while, your opponent may feel like we're gigantic. No, it's just the effort is. And that all starts, again, back to practice. How do you practice? When we say we don't negotiate, we also mean that in practice. If I want my brother to get better, I got to push my brother. And if I don't, I'm not doing him any favors. I'm setting him up for failure on game day.
Would you both say a bit more about being violent and aggressive and staying safe at the same time? Because the concept fascinates me. Like in our minds, we usually separate the two concepts so far away, but how can they be joined?
You got to utilize the tools that you're given, right? So everybody gets shoulder pads. Everybody has helmets. Everybody has thigh pads. Everybody has all the tools that you need to be violent and safe. And so what our job is to show you how to use your shoulder pads in a violent way, but also keep your body safe. See, if you hit correctly, you don't feel the impact because you use your tools. So once you teach that and they feel that and they know they can go full speed and use their shoulder pads, now they're protected. The helmet is for protection. It's not a weapon, right? If you start to use your helmet as a weapon, you are now unsafe. So your job is to keep your helmet away from things, and your shoulders are your biggest weapons. Your shoulder pads are your biggest weapons. Your hands, when you hold them the right way, are your biggest weapons. If you go too far away from your body, there's no strength in your limbs. The strength comes from being compact. So I can deliver a blow compact using standing what we call running behind your shoulder pads, and that'll keep you safe when you're running full speed and getting full impact. So we teach them to use the tools that they have to become violent yet safe.
Yeah. Essentially, if you're static, right? If you're standing still, your safety is circumstantial. So while you're standing still, you're safe as long as no other things are happening. Because if you're standing still and I come run at you and I hit you, I'm being violent, right? Which one of us is safe?
The person running is safer.
Safe. Because I get to determine how I hit you. I get to determine where I hit you. I get to determine when I hit you. I get to have influence over what's happening. You don't. And so that's what we try to teach people to understand is that when you have good technique, meaning that you're trained up, when you have the right attitude, the mindset, and when you're in motion, using all of those things in conjunction, you're more likely to be safer. So in the world that is getting more and more difficult, more and more challenging, more and more dangerous, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. If you're standing still, it's more dangerous. It is more dangerous to stay the same than it is to change, to get better, to grow, all of those other type of things. So it's not just literal, it's metaphorical as well. You staying still is usually the least safest thing you could do.
How does this violence, staying safe discussion relate to workplace culture?
Exact same thing. At everyone's job, they have tools, they have techniques, they have tactics, and they have their mindset. That's what they got. Okay. And the people who hide, the people who want to stay still, people who don't want to better themselves or don't want to invest in their tools and things of that nature, those people are the least safe. But the people who are going at their work, who are going at the experience, and I want you to, just for the sake of conversation, flip the word violence with intensity. People who are approaching the things that they're doing with intensity are more likely to be successful. People who wake up in the morning and they're going to grab a hold of their day. They're going to go and they're going to grab a hold of their work. They're going to punch through those walls. We call that a breakthrough. How can you have a breakthrough and be still? How can you have a breakthrough with no intensity? How can you have a breakthrough with no violence? Every day that you're trying to get through something, you have to break through it. That communicates an intense process, and that's what we try to get people geared into.
And intensity is really, again, it comes down to your effort, right? And then that effort comes with an aura and that energy. So when we're in a workplace, and like I said, here at Think 3D, it's one of those. I always feel like I'm recruiting for us when I talk about us. But seriously, everybody in here is gung ho and adamant about getting better. So if you're not, you stand out for the wrong reasons. We're all moving and we're all moving. And if we're all moving and you're standing still, you now are in danger of falling away and falling apart. So we all have to be moving together in a commonality of we want to be the best version of us that we can be. We don't have to be the best anything other than the best version of us. And that's what we teach in the game, and that's how you transfer what we teach in the game into the workplace. Are you the best version of you, or are you trying to hide? Because if you're trying to hide, are you helping your company? And if you're a company and you're creating a culture in which people want to hide from you, do you have a winning team? Are you a winning exec? Are you a winning manager? If your team is hiding, your team is a representation of you. You have to have a vision and a philosophy and an energy. If you can't produce that and project that onto your team in which they reflect that, it's a reflection on you.
So Manny and Bonnie, a month or so ago, I was at this great event called Culture Con. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, I know.
Probably once or twice I might have heard about it.
So full disclosure, this is an amazing event put on by Think 3D and Suffolk and now Rapid City. But one of the most inspiring parts I thought of and it was all inspiring, but one of the most inspiring parts of the event was hearing from the leaders of tomorrow talking about the journey. Manny, what is Leaders of Tomorrow?
Leaders of Tomorrow is our program that was born in 2018. These guys had an idea, they had a vision of how they could create a new wave of leaders in the community. We wanted to change, Think 3D wanted to change how our community felt and what we were going to be doing in the future by starting at home, grassroots. Oftentimes people want to go outside to change something on the inside when it has to come from the inside out, just like what we talked about.
I have to just pause you and say, Manny said, oftentimes people want to go outside to change something on the inside. Just had to get that.
Yeah,
repeat it because it's amazing and it's powerful. But please continue.
Yeah, for sure. Oftentimes, like I said, we wanted to say, okay, now if we want to be part of the change, we have to be the change ourselves, right? If we want to see the change, you got to be the change. If you want to change the energy in a room, you got to be the energy that you want to see. So we said, okay, we're getting to a point now where the leaders in the workforce and the leaders that are in these organizations, they're going to be pushing away and retiring and moving on to new things. Who are they going to be turning that over to? So the goal initially was to say, we're going to get 500 new leaders. We're going to create 500 new leaders by the year 2025. We're going to have 500 new leaders that we're going to give them the tools. We're going to give them resources. We're going to arm them with the abilities and help them unlock to be the leaders that are going to take over. We actually attained that goal of 500 this past May. So we got ahead of the curve. And so part of that was the growth of Leaders of Tomorrow. So we went, okay, not only just organizational leaders, how do we get bigger and into the next level? And so we jumped into the school system. We decided next generation, the next gen leaders. We decided to expand Leaders of Tomorrow to Next Gen. And then the justice impacted community. That's one thing that a lot of people forget. You know, we think about people that are impacted by the justice system and we want to forget about them. We put them away and we want to forget about them. But eventually, most of those people come out. So what are they going to do when they come out? And so now we had to say, how can we impact that community and create leaders from that community so that they are armed and they understand and have the same resources and the same opportunities as the people that are just in regular, Fortune 500 companies or big companies. When they can all get together in the same room and have like-minded and the same vision, now we really focusing on changing this community because nobody is lost. Nobody is missing. We all together. We all have a similar mindset. So once that happens, that's how you develop leaders of tomorrow. Leaders of tomorrow are not just going to be one type of person. And if you think that that's what a leader of tomorrow will be, you're going to be sadly mistaken. You can't go into the future thinking you're going to keep the same old thing with the same old rhetoric and the same old energy. It doesn't work anymore. The same way it doesn't work in coaching. Telling people because I said so doesn't work anymore. You got to show, you got to have proven concept, and you got to be able to say, I want to change something. If I want to make something great, I got to be part of it first. And it got to start here. We got amazing people in this community. We have amazing people in this small little city, right? And we want to be able to say, this is how we can lead. Out of this community, this is how we do it. This is how we form change. And it starts with us. And that's what Leaders of Tomorrow is all about. Starting with us, ending with us. That's how we finish
it. So you two are both at the top of your game, creative, highly skilled, making a big impact nationwide. And you could live anywhere and thrive anywhere. How do you come to choose to make a difference in a town of 200,000 people on the prairie where the winters are cold? Why here?
Well, partly, like you said, we're at the top of our game. I mean, we might be at the top of the game. That's for folks like you to decide, but we're nowhere near the top of our game. And
good correction.
We feel that way as a group, but we feel that way as a community. Like, we're just getting started. That's why we haven't left yet. We still got so much work to do. But the other piece of it is our home. And, kids are grown and develop here. Our relationships are grown and develop here. And I don't know that there's a place in the world that I think is better than the Sioux Falls. It's different. And so whenever we want to experience different, we leave and we go to someplace else and we learn and grow and connect with those folks. Because in this world that I live in anyway, there are no boundaries. I'm a South Dakotan for sure, but like the whole world is our home. And so for me, I focus on Sioux Falls because it's valuable, because we have an opportunity to influence it. Let me put it like this. When we talk to people, we always say that there's flour people and there's frosting people. So frosting people, they want to go to where the cake is already baked. The thing is done. Maybe they can frost it, put a cherry on top. You go to certain places, it kind of is what it is. And they go and they plug into it. Good for those people. We're flour people. Like, we want to be in the mix. We want to determine what it tastes like, the feel, the texture. We want to be an ingredient in what is ultimately produced. We want to be determining factors into what is produced. And so we don't want to live in somebody else's vision. We want to help develop our own vision that is collective of folks, like us. And so for us, we can live anywhere in the world, and we want to live here.
But Vaney, we had coffee a few months ago, and you were telling me the story about doing repetitions one time in football practice, and the players getting rewarded by being able to set out a repetition if they won a rep. And you have a different take on that. What was your different take?
Yeah, winners win more. So for us, like if you win, you guess what you get? You get more sprints. You're welcome. You know what I mean? Because who's generally going to do better? First of all, the person who did more sprints or less sprints, the person who worked more or worked less, the person who studied more or studied less. Like there's anomalies all within that, but the reality of it is generally the most prepared person is the most skilled person, and the most skilled person is the most confident person, and the most confident, skilled, prepared person is going to win more often than not. So it's a gift that you get to do a little bit more when it comes to getting better, because people who have done more usually get more. Outside of that, in life, that is just a fact that winners win more. You know, you might have 2 kids. You have 3 kids now. You're a winner, but does that mean more work or less work? You got a promotion at your job. You're a winner, but does that mean more work or less work? Does that mean more responsibility or less responsibility? You won the election for president of the United States, or as mayor or city council. Does that mean you have to be more engaged in your community or less? Winners win more. In real life, when you win, you get more responsibility, more work, more scrutiny, more opinions, more all that stuff. People always focus on the more you get. On the other side of it, more money, more attention, all those other type of things. But there's a lot that comes with that. So winners win more. And so by getting young people in particular to develop the association and the understanding that doing a good job doesn't get me off the hook. Doing a good job gets me into position to do a better job. And when you do a better job, you're generally going to get better results, and you're generally going to have a better experience. It doesn't have to be a higher paying job. It doesn't have to be a more prestigious job, but it means a better job. There's a lot of people right now that are doing a pretty okay job. This whole world would be better if tomorrow they woke up and decided to do a better job. What is one more?
There's I'm going to say the opposite mythology in society of like, let's make a lot of money now when I'm making money, so then we can retire and do nothing or not have to do much. What do you think of that mythology?
I've never met anyone that was really successful to the point where they've made enough money, right? And you talk to them and they have nothing going on. It's always a new thing. Like one of the things, my uncle, the greatest man I ever knew was my uncle, and he was a very successful businessman. And he retired from Mitsubishi when he in Puerto Rico. He was vice president of Mitsubishi in Puerto Rico for a long time. And then Chrysler bought him out. And then it was like, you can retire. He's got this huge severance package, this whole thing. And he said, I was vacationing for about 2 weeks. And then he's like, I had to do something else. And so what he did, he found another endeavor. And he found something else. And he opened up a security business of armed guards and things like that. It's always something else. I don't think you ever get to a point, because to get to the point of making whatever the amount of money is, to get to that point, it takes a certain amount of drive. It takes a certain amount of ethic and work ethic and effort that there is no off button. So if you try to turn it off, you might as well give it all up and just fall apart, because you have spent an entire lifetime creating this machine that is your life, and that is your energy and effort, and now you're asking to turn it off, and it just doesn't work out. That's why a lot of people, when they retire, they end up doing something else. They just retired from the one thing.
Yeah, a lot of people think retirement is not having to work anymore. You know, our definition is not having to work for money anymore. It means we get to do what we want to do fully, you know, and to a higher degree. All the money does is bankroll the work we were doing for free.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are all things that we love to do. In fact, the reason why we even are considered with money is because we want to have so much of it that it doesn't matter. We we want to have so much of it that when we go to do that thing for those kids, we don't have to say, well, how much did it cost? Who cares? People make it seem like we need money to do stuff. We don't need money to do anything at all. That person that's making that table can still make that table without money. That person that's shipping that ticket can still ship it without money. We could do all of these things without money. That's what the ideal situation is. Since that's not the case, money is a natural part of what it is that folks are doing. But that's not the relationship that we have with work, because this is our life's work. Right. This is the work that we were uniquely designed to do. Not everybody's blessed enough to be in that work. And for those people, they're working hard so they don't have to do that work anymore. But even when they don't do that, they still better go home and work on their kids, work on their community, work on their situation. There's a lot of people who justify being bad at their marriage by being good at their job because they don't work on their marriage. So you can never shake the work. You can never get rid of the work. You can never get rid of the weight. Here's your options though. You can trip over it, you could drag it, or you could carry it. And so for us, the work that we have to do is just something that we carry with us. It's just the work is involved. We'll never stop working. That's not the deal. The deal is that making sure that we can work with who we want to, doing the work we want to do, how we want to do it, and for the impact we want to do it for. That's what all of this is about. Other than that, like, we would be doing this anyway.
Profound. So but humans often stumble over work. Like how often does this happen at a company? There's a meeting, the C-suite basically does most of the talking, and everyone else doesn't say that much until after the meeting, when they get out and start gossiping and complaining and all that about what the C-suite says and what they demand of them and their dumb ideas and on and on. What's a better way for a meeting to be conducted?
Well, this is what we talk about when we mean courage. You know what I'm saying? We don't teach courage. Just like we don't actually teach confidence. We tell people they should have them, but we don't teach them. You know, and there's certain things that you need. Confidence helps courage. Confidence is 3 things you need for confidence. You need preparation, you need validation, and you need results. When a person prepares, they're more likely to feel good because they know they've done as much as they could do to be good at the thing. As they get validation through doing the thing with other people that do it and the people that they're doing it with or for, those people give them validation. And then naturally, by the effects of doing work and being in league with people, you get the results. That helps you develop that confidence. And that confidence allows you to bolster your courage. Because again, as he mentioned, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to overcome fear. And so when that person's in that room and they have an opportunity to say what they need to say to people who can actually do something about it versus people who can't, when that person has an opportunity to advocate for themselves and for someone else, when that person has an opportunity to speak to their principles and values and what they need for them to be happy and safe, and they get up out of that room and they walk out but having said that, that's cowardice. It's not an insult, it's an assessment. That's just the definition of what it is. And in those moments, we have to ask people to have courage. But it's not enough to ask people to have courage. We have to build it in folks. We have to instill it in folks so that they actually will speak for themselves and actually stand up for themselves. And so many people are bearing the weight of self-loathing and doubt and all of those things. And that keeps them from being able to speak to themselves, which is why if you take note of it, pretty much all that Think 3D does, it's about unlocking people. We don't give anybody anything. We unlock them. We help people understand that they have power within them. They have agency within them. They have the ability to affect change within them. Power lies where people think it lies. If you think it lies in your boss, that's where it's at. If you think it lies in rules and policies and procedures, then that's where it's at. If you think it lies in you, then that's where it's at.
If you think power lies within you, that's where it's at. Manny, what were you going to say?
No, that's 100% accurate. I think that's when you presented that picture for us. that's been a way for so long, right? People get to a certain level and they want to talk at you, right? But if we need to have powerful and effective communication, right? It has to be a message received, not message sent. I could tell you all the greatest things in the world, but if you don't understand it or get it, you're not gonna do what I need you to do with it, right? And so to be able to provide a culture where the CEO or whoever's running the show has empowered the people to speak, because that's how you build relationships, right? You want to create leaders, not followers, right? We're trying to create leaders. So if you can empower the people that work for you, or well, let me correct that. Nobody works for you. They work for whatever's motivating them, right? If it's money, if it's comfort, they're not working for you. They're working for that. So if you can treat somebody as a human being, somewhere along the line, we lose that when we get into corporate, right? We lose the how do you feel today moments, right? And we turn it into, I need this done by this time. Okay, cool. Well, what if this person just lost somebody yesterday? Or are you in touch enough with your company where you know when somebody's off? And if your company, well, it's so big, I can't do that. Well, have you hired supervisors and staffs and leadership that can have that vision to carry that out, where they're going to know, hey, Bobby's not having a very good day. Let's go check on Bobby. And then they can come back and say, hey, you know what, Bobby's struggling. And so you may see his numbers slip a little bit. He's going through these things. Well, how can we help Bobby? Who do we need to connect him to? The only way to get to that is through effective communication and being able to speak. And if you create an environment in which you cannot speak when the head is speaking, then it's just a head. And how effective is a head without the body?
How effective is the head without the body? So I can see being a corporate CEO and being like, hey, that all sounds wonderful, Manny and Bonnie, but we need to make money. It's all about the bottom line.
I mean, yeah, sure, I get it. But then look at the bottom line. Actually look at it. You go to any business, where does most of their money go? The people. When people say they don't have time in the business, what do they spend most of their time on? Putting out fires, interpersonal issues, HR problems, all those type of things. That's where most of their time is going. When people say that they don't have enough money, where's most of their money going? Recruitment, retention. That's where it goes. You can't hire who you want when you're busy hiring who you need. And so now you keep getting people in here who are not right. They roll in and out. People will look at everything that they do on the profit side of it, but they're not looking at the money that they spend on nutrition, or the money that they spend on recruitment, or the money that they spend on training, or the money that they spend on hurt feelings. And my best friend just got shipped out, and now you lose me and two other people. People are not putting that math together because they're not considering the people. So if you really care about your bottom line, you protect your best investment. If you really care about your bottom line, you make investment in your best investment. If you care about your bottom line, then no matter what you do, no matter what you make, you're doing it or you're making it for people. So people are the point, period. And at the end of the day, as soon as anybody gets the impression that you are not concerned with them as a person, what is the likelihood that they're going to be concerned with your business?
Along with that I mean, if you have people facing your customers who don't care at all about the job, I mean, that's not going to work.
And it doesn't work. The school's been out on this for a while. This is not even something that's like our opinion. This is factual. The school's been out on this for a while. These things have not worked. Turn on any station, anything, whatever. What are they talking about? They're talking about people struggle to get workforce, struggle to get people back to work, struggle to find struggle, because carrot and stick doesn't work anymore. Because after this last 50-year experiment of modern work, here's what we know. Not everybody's motivated by carrots, and nobody likes getting hit with sticks. It don't work. It never actually had. It's so funny how frustrated people are with this as if it's not a result of that. Nobody wants to work anymore. Nobody wants to da-da-da. Well, why? Is it because what we're going to do, or is it because of what we've been doing? People don't want to work because of what we've been doing. So why would we make that what we're going to do? Doesn't make sense. So for us, when we're dealing with an organization, we're not trying to argue that logic. If we're not your jam, so be it. We're not trying to brain wrestle with people every day. We want to do good work and help people. If you're not interested in that, that's not going to work. Let me just do this real quick. I'm going to give you our 3 non-negotiables. We have 3 non-negotiables that we have with all the organizations that we work with. 1, everybody's in the boat. We're not here to fix them. If you believe like you're above the training, there's no greater evidence that you need it. 2, just because you pay us doesn't mean we work for you. We are not your employees. We do not work for you. We're going to hold you accountable and challenge you and love on you and try to care for you and be there for you as best we can. And then 3, you got to be willing to let go of your top performer because they undermine the culture. Because if there's enough that you can do or enough that you can make to justify you diminishing the experience for everyone else, then you're not interested in a healthy culture. So if somebody's not into that, they're not into us.
And you know, you can summarize that by one of our philosophies, what we believe. Culture is the new currency. Your bottom line is going to depend on your culture. If you have the right culture at your business, your currency, your dollars, your bottom line is going to increase. Nothing works more than somebody who's eager to come to work, right? TGIF, right, is stems from getting either beat with a stick or not having enough carrots, right? So one of my new movements is TGIM. Thank God it's Monday, right? Because I get to do what I want.
I love it.
Right? Because why did we make Monday this big bad monster? It's because of the type of culture that was given to us and presented to us. But here we're saying, no, there's a new culture, and it starts with you. And it says, let me seize my moment. Let's thank God it's Monday. Let's go get it. Because I get to do what I love to do. I get to be around people that I get to do life with. What we talk about, you spend a majority of your adult life at work. Those are with people that you got to do life with. You don't get to turn it off. You're spending 8 to 10 to 14 hours a day with these people. You should probably like them. You should probably have an environment in which you're comfortable and you can feel like you can grow in, right? Because if you're wasted and drowned out there, you got to go home and your family got to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And now you less of a dad, you less of a husband, you less of a father, you're less of all the things, right? You have to be involved in a culture at work that's conducive to you being the best version of yourself. So when you're in a culture like that, thank God it's Monday because I get to go.
Well, I could talk to you both all day, but we need to wrap up here. But before we go, I in my business I talk about doing my imperfect best. What it means to me is I envision the best I want and then go for it. And when imperfections, mistakes come up, instead of using them as reasons to stop, I use them to move forward. What does doing your imperfect best mean to each of you?
Well, for me, it means failing forward. It means failing forward. It means you don't find the true depth of your heart until you know what it feels like to fall. You don't find yourself until you really know, do I have the thing in me to keep pushing when everything else feels like it's not going to work? As soon as I start to hear that voice in my head that says I can't, do I have the power, the guts, the fortitude, the heart to say, nope, we're going to keep going. And if I fall, let me fall forward. Let me fall forward, because if I can fall forward, I'm further than where I stopped at. Where somebody will stop and just sit down, if I fall forward, I'm ahead of them. So then that lets me know, man, I'm further than where I was at a minute ago. Let me regroup, regather my breath, get up and go. That's what that means to me.
It for me is that raw pursuit of authenticity. You know, a lot of people, you know, they're struggling with their quality of life, and they're always stressed, and they're burdened, and they're tired, no matter what it is that they're doing, even enjoyable things. When you hear people talk about taking a vacation, most people, when they get back from a vacation, they got to take a vacation from the vacation because because no matter where they go, they stress. And part of the reason why is because people spend so much energy being inauthentic. They spend so much energy buffering and hiding and dodging and ducking and all of those other type of things. And there's a stillness that only authenticity can provide you. This cup is using zero energy trying to convince you that it's a cup. It's a cup, right? And so when a person is truly authentic, the stillness of being authentic, when you don't have to use any energy convincing people that you are who you are, that you love who you love, or you're doing what you're doing because they can see it and they know that it's real because it is. That's a lot of energy you get back. And that is the difference between most people. Most people think they're going to get something. Usually finding happiness is letting stuff go.
Well. And what's the best way for people to connect with you?
All the socials, Think 3D Solutions. They can check us out at letsthinkthree.com. That website is being revamped as we speak to make it even smoother for everybody out there. They can check us out on all of the platforms as Do Work Better as well. If you want to be on YouTube to see the visuals, or if you want to check it out on Spotify or any other streaming service that's carrying your favorite podcast, you can check for us there.
How about Young Nobles?
Oh, you're gonna have to dig for that. You're gonna have to dig for that one.
Yeah, that's those were back in CD days, right? You know, we had CDs and discs, right?
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck with that. But we do have. You can find V the Noble One on all the music platforms. You can find Blitz Maximus on all the music platforms. Flame On Gospel, things like that. Flame On Entertainment. You can, if you just check the music platforms, we'll have a ton of music for you on there. We out there.
Sweet. Thank you both so much. This has been a very inspiring hour.
Well, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us on. It was awesome.
You're welcome. Thank you both so much. Wow. So fun. Actually I went to a conference, Think 3D was at, and that's the first I got connected with them, and that was just 4 or 5 months ago, and now I'm having an amazing conversation with these two amazing people. There's people out there who are very, very inspiring. There's people out there you want to know, and there's people out there you can impact. Like I encourage you to say hi, to smile, to invite people to coffee, to get to know the people around you and listen to their stories and share yours. Life is so fun, so inspiring. Anyway, those are my final thoughts. Tune in next week for another awkwardly awesome episode of Awkwardly Awesome Podcast. Thanks.